Friday, as you can.
It is a feel-good Friday, right here, I'm telling you.
Friday. Karibu sana, lakini I would want to burst your bubble.
What's the problem?
You remember the hillside in Russia last year?
Yes.
Imagine today is your 1 year anniversary.
Sasa wewe.
Yeah, it has to be said, whether we like it or not. Lakini, the most interesting part is it's World Samosa Day.
Really?
Yeah, so eat some samosas today. Beef samosas.
Okay. It's also International Day of Charity, observed by the United Nations, so it is indeed a big day. There's also a movie by the title September 5th.
Ah.
A very big movie. You should actually watch it today.
You
September
watch
5th.
it?
No, I'm not. I'm hoping to.
We'll watch it. Sawa.
Karibu sana. This is the Morning Cafe on this Friday, 5th of September 2025. It is indeed a feel-good Friday here. We'll be telling you why. My name is Fred Indemo.
My name is Ann Odida. Let's take a look at the local dailies and we'll start off with Taifa Leo. IEBC yapuliza kipenga.
Takueleza zaidi wanazungumzia nini? Deceitful spending, that's the standard.
People Daily 2025 verdict.
And they keep changing where they put the title, People Daily. Mara iko hapa, next time utaiona hapa chini.
Free will.
The Weekend Star, Ruto reduces varsity fees to 25-year low. Yeah, today we'll be having the youth perspective. Is something to celebrate.
Daily Nation, who failed them? What I was talking about.
Okay. All right. Matters business, accidents, car theft, insurance payouts hit record 44 billion shillings. That's a business daily.
All right.
Before we go to the regional dailies, of course, today being the youth perspective, we'll be having a group of young Kenyans to tell us more about what they feel has been happening in Kenya. Nick Mwangi, a familiar face on this panel. He's the SG Kenya Ahadi Party. James Mulamba, who describes himself as a revolutionary, will also be in studio, alongside Kelvin Mwangi, who's the SG Tujibebe wa Kenya Party Youth League, and a youth leader, Vida Mengi. Do stand by for that.
All right, coming your way, starting.
Alafu hii hapa sasa ndo nakuambia ni Feel Good Friday, and I will keep insisting on this. DJ Granite makes a comeback to Feel Good Friday.
All right.
Today.
He wasn't here with us last week,
Yes.
so that's
Kama
why
alikuwa
he's
amepata
singing
gig mahali.
away.
Yes,
All right,
it's
let's take a look at the regional dailies. Now we start off in Uganda. Daily Monitor. UPDF soldiers killed in DRC. And while Ministry of Defense says they lost only 2 soldiers in the fight, reports in the Democratic Republic of Congo said the casualties could be higher. These are Uganda's military UPDF soldiers. Security arrest Bobby Wine's cameraman after raid on headquarters.
Sasa cameraman anaulizwa nini?
Jamani. Ona hata kama wanataka kumnyonga.
Ni kama ushike hapa JMO ama Ian. Unauliza nini? Hao ni wapiga picha. The action is not them.
You know.
Hao wana capture the action.
All right, other stories here. Constitution at 30 still given prominence in Uganda. CA delegates stage walkout, refused to sign constitution. That story is on page 10. On the top strip, how 10 billion shillings government tractors ended up with private plates. And the government's flagship tractor program meant to boost agricultural mechanism and support farmers across Uganda has come under sharp scrutiny after the Auditor General revealed the tractors worth billions of shillings were given private number plates. Auditor General wao pia ameamka. All right, that's the Daily Monitor in Uganda.
Still in Uganda, we stay with the New Vision showdown in Lord Mayor race as matters to do with elections. Pia thousands nominated as countrywide exercise ends. So these are civic polls huko in Uganda. Na wameweka picha za wale wanawania viti vya Lord Mayor, different mayors of different civic units there. Other stories given prominence here. Education promotes over 260 teachers. List inside. Wanasikia walimu wakipromotiwa mpaka waneka list kwa gazeti.
Wow.
NRM vows to capture Central. 6 new national parks born and universities gear up for vision quiz. Pale juu kuna warembo kweli kweli. The Beat tourism pageant. Who will take the crown? Na ameweka pale. Najua when I used to host the show with Nyaringita, angeona hii picha, hii show iendelee.
Oh, yeah.
You take a break.
Something must kill a man.
That's the New Vision.
All right. Tuvuke kule Bongo, we start off with the Citizen. Why shilling is resilient despite election jitters. And the Tanzanian shilling usually weakens in the run-up to general elections, often depreciating sharply against major currencies. But the situation is different as the October 29 elections draw closer. So inamaanisha during election year ukienda kule Tanzania with Kenyan shillings, you're richer.
Najua sasa hiyo anasema right now to the dollar it's 2,257 shillings, the Tanzanian shilling.
Oh, wow.
Hapa tukisikia imepita 129 tunakasirika sana hata tuendi kazi.
All right, and their business daily is doing very well since they launched it.
Yes, yes. There's a lot of tractors on the front pages of papers today. In Tanzania, Uganda, we're talking about tractors, and I can see an even bigger tractor in Tanzania.
Yeah. Samia's plan to boost agricultural productivity, kama tukule Uganda, and she says their aim is to raise agriculture's annual growth from 4.6% to 10% by 2030 through subsidies and supportive policies. She says Tanzania can make agriculture the true backbone of Tanzania's economy. A question here, do you think you are healthy? Think again.
Sasa wanaambia ninao experts pia wakwenda huko.
Ati wanaambia nani?
Do you think you're healthy? Think again.
Think again.
I'm healthy. Wanaambia nani?
Dixon Francis Ngowi cycling through waterfalls to the top of Mount Rungwe. Okay, that's a special feature there. That's the Citizen.
Right. Kwenye gazeti la Mwananchi kule Bongo ni vilio na vicheko kwa mapingamizi. Masuala ya siasa, uamuzi wa INEC kwa wabunge na madiwani wanazidi kujiandaa kwenye uchaguzi mkuu ambao unakuja Oktoba tarehe 29 mwaka huu. Ni chini ya miezi miwili. So habari za kisiasa zikipewa kipaumbele kwenye gazeti hili. Rais Samia Suluhu Hassan akiwa kwenye kampeni anasema Samia atangaza ujio kongani ya viwanda mkoani Mbeya. The promises tu ni ahadi za kampeni. Na uchaguzi wa mwaka 2025 na siri shilingi kuimarika zaidi. Yeah, they're looking at the stability of the shilling, the volatility or otherwise, especially given the electioneering period. Jaji Ndunguru kusikiliza kesi ya Tundu Lissu. Ani masuala ya siasa kila mahali. Everything on the front page of this paper ni masuala ya siasa. Madiwani na wabunge, shilingi inavyoendelea, Samia kampeni, Tundu Lissu pale. Lakini kama mpitwa na wakati. Kule juu
bado
tukichukua Ikulu wanafunzi wote usafiri bure. Hao ni chama cha Tanzania Labour Party TLP. Hatujawasikia hawa. Lakini kampeni zinazidi kunoga. Gazeti la Mwananchi.
All right, those are the regional dailies and we'll be back to take a look at the local dailies. Tuangalie hali ya anga inakaa vipi. It's still
umeenda kwenye traffic. Nataka tuanze na traffic. Tunaweza pia.
It's still early for that. So tuende tuna order.
All right. And kuna mtu alisema tukue kama ni Friday tunaangalia mahali watu watakuwa wanaenda Friday.
Okay.
So tunaangalia kuna watu huenda holiday Naivasha. Tuanze na Naivasha.
Okay. In Naivasha this morning, it's 13 degrees, feels like it. It's a cloudy day. Highs of 22 degrees. Hata usiende Naivasha.
Kuna wale wanapenda hiyo weather.
Kaa kwa nyumba, 1.4 millimeters precipitation.
Kama unapanga kwenda Naivasha, the highest temperatures is 22 degrees. It's a very cold place. Na kunanyesha.
It will rain. Tukivuka kule Kisumu.
Kisumu, kama unataka kwenda kwa lakeside, it's a bit warmer, 19 degrees as we speak. Feels like 24, the disparity quite big. It's also a cloudy day, but the temperatures are very comfortable. 28 degrees, that's the highest. Unaweza enda pale kwa shows za lake, 1.9 millimeters of rainfall. So, enda Kisumu.
Dunga Beach.
Dunga Beach.
All right, Diani, 23 degrees, feels like 25 this morning. It's a partly cloudy day, partly cloudy indeed. Highs of 27 degrees and precipitation in Diani, 0.3 millimeters.
They have the best weather for holiday.
Yeah.
I think we could propose that you go to Diani. Kuna wale pia siku hizi wanaenda Turkana. You take a flight to Lodwar, Turkana, unaenda kwa Lake Victoria, ama unaenda upande lingine ya Marsabit, unaenda Loyangalani. Highs of 36 degrees. It's a partly cloudy day, mostly sunny though. 0.0 millimeters of rainfall. So yes, 26 degrees right now as we speak. 26 is so high that Nairobi, I think that's the highest we might experience.
Today?
Yes.
Wanasema Monday it will be 37 degrees. Turkana.
Leo itafika 36, yes. Lakini kama unaenda huko beba, ile unaitanga nini?
Sunscreen.
Sunscreen.
Yes.
Sunscreen, that one.
Siku hizi tangu.
Siku hizi najua hii mambo. Tangu Overbay.
Well, finally, weather in Nairobi this morning, it's 13 degrees, feels like 14. It's a cloudy day. Highs of 24 degrees today in Nairobi and precipitation is 0.6 millimeters.
The weekend promises to be warmer as we get into next week. Highs of 25 degrees. So it's a warm weekend. Hii kama umepanga wedding, I think this will be the best. Ebu angalia Saturday especially because wale Yes, a beautiful day if you have a wedding tomorrow. Highs of 25 degrees, no rainfall until very late into the night. Partly cloudy, very comfortable weather for a wedding on Saturday.
Lakini imechange. Alikuwa amesema 26 this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 26 degrees.
Usiulize maswali mengi, ni wale watu wa hali ya anga.
Sina mambo mimi. It's 12 minutes going into 13. Let's take a look at the traffic situation.
Friday traffic, yes, and it's building up slowly. Leo ni kama watu wameamka mapema kidogo ili wajiandae wamalize shughuli ndio weekend iendelee. Tunaanza hapa na Thika Road 12 minutes past 6. This is trouble because you can see this stretch. Ile bottleneck ya pale Pangani interchange, the backup is going as far back as the Utalii Drift pale Utalii College. So, and it's only 12 minutes past 6, meaning there's a lot of traffic at that point. I don't know what's happening. I hope there's no incident that's causing that snarl up. Further pale juu Thika Road, nothing much to worry about. You can see Kangundo Road pia ni kama wameamka leo, both sides of the road heading towards Jiru and heading towards the Outer Ring Road. Pia areas around Fedha and Tasia wameamka mapema leo. Hata Jogoo Road they're very early. Angalia kuna red hapa Makadara. At this time of day inakuanga yellow. But once you get into town, not much biashara there at Marikiti, but it will build up slowly, yes. Mombasa Road all the way from the airport. Watu unajua sasa hivi watu wanafaa wanaenda airport. So kuja Nairobi. Who's coming to Nairobi on a Friday morning?
What?
Yeah. Who's coming to this?
Relationships.
Who?
What?
You have too much faith in relationships. Anyway. Mombasa Road looking good all the way to the CBD. Other roads on this other side of town, Southern Bypass, Langata Road, Ngong Road, as well as Waiyaki Way, nothing much to report from that end. So the only problem I can see is at the Pangani interchange, because at this time, and this is just our analysis, kuna magari mengi sana hapo. Yeah.
All right, now let me answer your question. Who is coming to Nairobi? You know, those people in long distance relationships, today being a weekend and a Friday, there are people are coming in on Friday to spend the weekend with them.
No.
Let's have the quote of the day.
No. Before quote of the day, let me clarify. Kama uko long distance relationship, wache ikae long distance. Ukikuja hapa, una affect other relationships. Kama uko long distance.
Let's have the quote of the day.
The past holds no power over your future. It's always possible to begin again, to take a new path, and to reinvent yourself as the person you wish to become.
Let's come back and take a look at the local dailies. And we start off with Taifa Leo. IEBC yapuliza kipenga baada ya kusitisha shughuli ya usajili unaoendelea wa wapiga kura mwaka 2023. Hatimaye zoezi hilo litaanza tena. Tume Huru ya Uchaguzi na Mipaka nchini ya IEBC imeanza rasmi maandalizi ya uchaguzi mkuu ujao, huku ikitarajiwa kuanza kwa sajili wapiga kura mwishoni mwa mwezi huu. IEBC ilisema usajili wa wapiga kura utaanza rasmi Septemba tarehe 29.
This is a big news. Habari kuu, hii ni habari moja ambayo tumekuwa tukiangazia sana, tumeingojea sana. Chini ya miaka miwili kabla ya uchaguzi mkuu, na IEBC inasema wanatarajia kusajili kama takriban milioni 5.7 wapiga kura wapya.
Ahead of 2027, yeah?
Yes.
All right. Maonyesho ASK imeanza kule. Huyu ni Rais William Ruto akiandamana na gavana wa Mombasa Abdulswamad Nassir wakati wa ufunguzi rasmi wa maonyesho ya kilimo ya Mombasa ASK. Rais amesema kwamba serikali yake inafanya maamuzi magumu ambayo yana manufaa kwa nchi badala ya kuangalia faida za muda mfupi kama vile ushindi wa uchaguzi mkuu ujao. Alitoa mfano wa miradi mikubwa ya unyunyiziaji maji ya Galana Kulalu, Bura na Tana Delta kama mfano wa ufanisi. Vidokezo zaidi, Kenya moja wavuruga hesabu ya Wetangula na mwamko mpya wa viongozi chipukizi unaoendelea kushuhudiwa magharibi mwa nchi unatishia umaarufu wa Weta na Mudavadi.
Yeah, and it's the effect that this Kenya Moja will have, especially on Western Kenya. I don't know why, but they seem to be focusing on Western Kenya. They have friends from all over, but their focus is on Western Kenya.
Uni Caleb Amisi na nani?
Sifuna. Na Sifuna. Na uliona hata kina Mushomba wanaenda wapi? Yes. Western. Akina Babu Owino wanaenda wapi? Western. Kenya Moja is going to affect Western in a big way. Yeah, alafu sasa wachukue hiyo as a basket, wafikirie tutaipeleka upande gani. Bas.
Western inaweza nasa? Western inaweza nasa ikienda huko?
Western, if they work together as one and they vote as one block, that's a very powerful voting block. Right. But they rarely do.
Magavana, maseneta wajifunika. Anasema kwamba wakati mchakato wa kuondoa viongozi afisini kuangaziwa upya. Habari kamili katika ukurasa wa 4.
Questions about impeachment.
Na Sudan sasa yamezea World Cup. Taifa Leo.
Kutoka kwenye Taifa Leo tuangazie The Standard. On The Standard they talk about deceitful spending, and they have the picture there of the CS Treasury, the President and the building of Parliament. Matters accountability. In an attempt to circumvent scrutiny, they say the government has, in select instances, spent taxpayers' money without parliamentary approval, exploiting a provision in the Constitution that allows the Treasury to spend without House approval only on emergencies such as natural calamities. However, the government has kept using funds not cleared by Parliament in total disregard for best practice in budget management, which smacks of deceit as Mwananchi struggles under the weight of high taxes. That story is on page 4. You can read more about that. Raila loses oversight role to new leaders. They talk about vibrant youth, political players and civil society have filled the vacuum left by the opposition after joining so-called broad-based government, which has also given rise to that outfit called Kenya Moja. Yeah. All right. Kenyans bank on Kasarani fireworks. That's a story. Remember, Kenya is facing Gambia today.
At 4 p.m.
At 4 p.m. So tunaenda pale nyuma. 2026 World Cup qualifiers. Yes. Kenyans bank on Kasarani fireworks ahead of Gambia tie. Remember, kwa hiyo group tuko chini kiasi, lakini tunakutana na Gambia leo. Pengine itasave mambo yetu.
10 points, or is it 6?
We were on 6 points yesterday, I think, before this game. And Gambia are below us. But the person who's ahead of us, the top of the 16. Group, ako 16. Tutafika huko siku gani? So, yes, something to look forward to. Ukiangazia kule ndani, bado wanazungumzia Sakaja. Support push to dissolve Sakaja regime. Lobby asks city residents what Sakaja must do in 60 days to avoid ouster. Those stories are there. Kuna story nilikuwa nimeona hapa ndani lakini.
There's a story on page 10. EACC told to probe Kihika over twisted legal fees and stalled projects. The Auditor General noted that 1 million shillings toilet meant for a market has stalled since 2019. Choo.
Since 2019?
2019.
Na pesa pengine ilitoka.
You know, it's interesting because yesterday we were talking about tourism in the Masai Mara, and the experts that were here were telling me that there's only one toilet.
In the Masai Mara?
In the Masai Mara.
So wale wengine ni open open air relief. Open air relief. Let's call it that. That's the standard.
People Daily 2025 verdict. Gachagua is now most feared opponent. Ruto's most feared opponent. They say Gachagua's rise was as unlikely as it was daring, and a career administrator who cut his teeth as a provisional officer under the iron grip of Daniel Arap Moi. He mastered the art of building networks. This is Rigathi Gachagua. He was arrested repeatedly, accused of corruption, and at one point said police raided his Nyeri home and humiliated him in front of his children. Jana aliambia serikali, mnasema hakuna watu huko Jubaland, governor ako pale, yeye ako ground, lakini bado mnamwambia hakuna watu huko.
Huko Mandera.
Lakini mimi nikisema mambo ya terrorism, mnanitafuta, mnasema niko na maneno mingi. Why Matiang'i has torn down attacks on the president is another story on page 5. People Daily wanaendelea na analysis and special features from notorious Mathare slums to high-profile lawyers. Another special feature in this newspapers. Lakini story
wanasema people and politics emerging voices.
Yes.
People Daily.
People Daily. Rigaji's relentless climb is the main story on the People Daily.
Yes, let's take a look at the Weekend Star. Ruto reduces varsity fees to 25-year low. This is a story that many university students may want to hear. And the parents rejoice as government cuts university fees by up to 70%. This is a big one. This is a big one. Even if you do not support this administration, this indeed is a big one. The story is on pages 4 and 5. Some public universities have begun implementing a revised fee structure after President William Ruto's administration slashed tuition charges to what could be the lowest levels in 25 years. That means the last time these levels were there was in 2000. 2000 was even before Mwai Kibaki. Yeah?
2000? Is
2000.
It 2002?
25. It's 2025. Minus 25.
Yeah.
Esabu. This newspaper has established that institutions across the country have significantly reduced fees for both first-year and continuing students, with some programs recording cuts of more than 70%. But the question is, will it be sustainable? So like for criminology, they've reduced from 30,000 to 14,000. Journalism from 46,520 at the University of Nairobi to 17,538. Wale wanataka kufanya journalism. Kuna mwalimu hapa studio. Students wanalipa pesa kidogo kidogo hapa na pale. School of Education from 33,750 to 8,000. So if you want to read more about this, don't take it from us. Grab yourself a copy of The Weekend Star. Pages 4 and 5 will explain to you even more. Then we have pictures there of the president attending the Mombasa SK show, dancing there and sitting with some leaders from that area. Matters football, Olunga bullish ahead of today's World Cup qualifiers against Gambia at Kasarani. Harambee Stars captain Michael Olunga, because of his international assignment, he was not able to take part of the CHAN tournament because CHAN was only for local-based players. Oh, wow. But now he comes back. Yes. And a ride on the wings of the young players when wamekuwa kifanya vizuri. He'll be there playing against Gambia at 4 p.m. today. That's the Star, the Weekend Star. Fresh, independent, different, and it's a heavy paper because it has a siasa pullout. Wanauliza, is the impeachment tool for manipulation and blackmail in politics? Hiyo ni swali.
Take a look at this story. This story in page 10. Crime sparks as Nairobians battle muggers and violent robbers in CBD. Kusema jana, pale Kimathi Street ukikaa vibaya past 9 p.m. unaenda.
The story is on page 16 of this paper. Yes, concern as Nairobians battle robbers in CBD. Na kuna picha nimeona CEO wetu pale. Hiyo page 16 nimefungua. Akiwa pale na CEO of National Government Constituency Development Fund. Na CEO Mwenda Njoka paid him a courtesy visit during which they explored areas of mutual interest of collaboration. All right.
Sawa sawa. Tuende pale Daily Nation. Who failed them? For the parents, time has stood still. Every memory of Hillside and Arusha Academy bound into the horror and screams that filled the air on that fateful night of September 5th, 2024. A year later, authorities have no answers for how the school fire that killed their 21 children happened and why no one has been held to account.
Yeah, we just moved on swiftly. The school was reopened.
Yeah.
And we moved on. And we even forgot that this happened. Yeah.
Lakini wale wazazi wa huko, wale ambao their kids survived. Yani bado wanapeleka tu watoto, like are they seeking for answers as well for their fellow parents? First anniversary, Director of Public Prosecution recommends public inquest into tragedy. A year later.
How come that public inquest has never been established? A year later.
I was listening to a parent anasema ajui hata kama alizika mtoto wake ama alizika wa mtu.
Very unfortunate.
Vidokezo zaidi. And this newspaper has given them a lot of coverage here. There's Mr. David Kinyua, the proprietor of the school, declined the comment, instead referring this newspaper to the Ministry of Education. Officers from the government pathologist office are here, walking outside Hillside and Arusha Academy in Kieni, Nyeri County on September 2024. That
was 2 days after the incident.
Yes. Vidokezo zaidi, West Pokot nurse wins global award. This is Luke Kanyangareng, 51-year-old, the nurse at a healthcare center in West Pokot, has been honored for his efforts in combating a neglected tropical disease that nearly killed him. As a teenager, he received the award at a conference in Finland. This is the Daily Nation, and on the back page, McCarthy building team for the future. While Harambee Stars are technically out of contention for 2026 showpiece, coach says they'll take remaining games seriously. FIFA World Cup qualifiers, home team hopes to replicate their CHAN form and upset visitors Gambia and Seychelles. That's the Daily Nation.
All right, finally, Matters Business. Business Daily, do we have a physical copy? Yes, we do. They talk about accidents and car theft insurance payouts hitting a record 44 billion shillings. Motor vehicle industry, motor cover is industry's biggest loss-making business. You see now, the problem with insurance companies, it is a requirement that every person owning a motor vehicle has to insure the vehicle.
Yeah.
Lakini sasa wanasema wakilipa claims, ati that is loss-making. Kwani hiyo pesa ilikuwa yao? Acha maneno. Rising bills and fraud claims signal higher premiums. Okay, on the ticker, there's only one highlight, how Johnny Walker, Kenya Cane, and EABL 5.2 billion shillings profit. East Africa Breweries Limited Spirit Selling Unit recorded a 5.2 billion shilling after-tax profit for the year ended June on the back of Johnny Walker and Kenya sales. Kenya Cane. KC. Oh, Kenya Cane do KC.
Kenya Cane.
Na Yohana Mutembezi. All right.
Mtembezi. All right, angalia caricature. We start off with the Star. Jubaland forces wamevaa kabuti pale kubwa, lakini the Interior Cabinet Secretary is just watching, and the president as well, caricatured here on the Star.
Na military wameingiza kichwa ndani ya sand.
Wanafinyiliwa hapo na Jubaland.
They're burying the head in the sand. They're not reacting to this.
Really?
Kila mtu anaangalia. Hata president says, walala. Ni kama hakuna kitu tunaweza fanya. Meanwhile, the boot is all over our territory.
The Star, that one.
Yes. The Daily Nation. And kuna ile crown ya Murima, kuna jamaa, kuna podium hapa, na kuna ile sign ya kusikiza ground, lakini the podium is a mousetrap. So by elections, candidate vetting. Alafu hapa kuna two-term mumbling, one-term. So kuna upande ya two-term mumbling, no, these are meter. Na kuna ule deputy party leader wa DCP hapa, Cleophas Malala. So they're just planning for the by-elections coming up in November 29th. Yes.
All right. The Standard, Nairobi gangs. Ukitoka bank pale, you as a client, there's micro leaders. Wanakungoja pale.
Lenders.
Oh, lenders.
This is about debt. This is about debt. Banks and micro lenders and the hidden charges here. So the micro lenders are charging people some very serious charges because banks are not giving them money. So they have to go for these micro lenders who have very exorbitant fees. Yeah, hidden charges.
Lakini mbona wamekuwa caricatured kama wezi?
Wezi, what they're saying ni kama ni wezi sababu wanakuibia through hidden charges.
Oh wow, okay.
Uko traumatized na hii
I'm very traumatized. I'm very traumatized sababu
tutazungumzia hiyo mambo. Sasa ndio hawa. People Daily. People Daily wako na hiyo inaitwa nini? A ticking time bomb. Teen gangs. Hao ndio wanasumbua watu town. Wanadunga watu visu, wanawanyonga, wanawanyang'anya simu. Sasa Mkenya hana pesa, unamnyonga nini? Mnyongeni. Askari pale anasema everything is under control. Now, to be honest, I think this is an indictment of the police service. If you cannot provide security in a small town like Nairobi, unaambia unaweza, because it's just uptown, it's actually uptown. Kimathi Street na hizo maeneo hapo. Na pale archives, hapo ndio watu wananyongewa.
Na Jogoo Road.
Na kuna kazi watu wanafanya. Polisi bure kabisa.
All right, today is a Feel Good Friday, lakini in the youth perspective.
On the youth perspective today, we'll be having Nick Mwangi, a familiar face on the panel, SG Kenya Ahadi Party. James Mulamba, who describes himself as a revolutionary, will be in studio as well, alongside Calvin Mwangi, who's a SG Tujibebe wa Kenya Party Youth League, and Vida Mengi, who's a youth leader. Do stand by for that coming your way in a few minutes' time.
All right, and DJ Granite, once again, Fred Alisema makes a comeback on the show. So he'll be joining me later on. I don't know if Bansi will be here today. Hopefully she'll
I don't know. All right.
It's a matter of wait and see. Interact with us on our socials, TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube, on X. At TV47 News KE, 22047 is our SMS line. My handle on X is at Ann.
X is actually TV47 Digital. TV47 Digital. Look for that handle on X.
Yes.
Follow it, and then you can tag us as well.
Yeah.
The hashtag is Morning Cafe. My handle is @FredInDeMood.
Ukifollow kuna sweetie. Yes.
And a promise.
Yes.
All right.
Stay with us.
Birds are adapted to 3 colors, the red, yellow, and the white.
This week on Kilimo Diaries, we focus on poultry equipment and accessories.
In the life of the bird, there are 2 phases. There's the growing period and there's the rearing period. Now, in the primary period, where the birds are in the brooder, we place chick trays and chick feeders on the ground level so that the birds can easily eat from the ground level.
And of course, what is the ideal structure, spacing, stock density, and of course, biosecurity?
And what are some of the common mistakes that you make while purchasing poultry equipment?
This on Kilimo Diaries.
A show for the farmer,
By the farmer, with the farmers.
In the late 1980s, moments before her wedding, Altagracia del Toro was found in the church in her wedding dress, covered in blood and holding the lifeless body of the town priest.
Murderer! She killed the priest!
That harlot's covered in the priest's blood!
Because of this, she was charged with murder, giving rise to the legend of the curse of the sinister bride of Judas. Natalia, a beautiful and curious young woman, comes across an article about the bride of Judas on the internet.
Mom, have you ever heard of the legend of the bride of Judas?
Natalia goes to the town to investigate, and there she meets Salomon Salvatierra, and they fall in love almost immediately, much to the displeasure of Salomon's ex-girlfriend Emma Balmori, who does her best to tear them apart.
You and Solomon are already done, and you'd better get over it. I can be with him whether you like it or not.
Is that so? We'll see about that. You little gold digger.
The Bride of Judas.
On the block, we laugh, we play, learning something new each day. Dance and skate, jump so high, sing and dream, we touch the sky. Puppets, stories, games that rock, it's all here on Kids on the Block. So come along, don't miss the fun, the show for every kid, yes, everyone. Kids on the Block, where every kid shines bright. Catch the magic every Saturday, it's pure delight.
It's time for Say What!
Say What isn't just a talk show, it's a space for bold conversations.
Man is still the original manuscript from the Garden of Eden.
Yeah?
Yes. Woman is the one who keeps on changing, like an iOS updated software.
No topic is off limits, no opinion is silenced. From social issues to untold stories.
When was the last time you addressed your man from a kingly position?
I say yes, men don't cry. But that sentence was not complete.
We bring together different personalities, influencers, and everyday voices for raw, unfiltered, and transformative discussions.
A king's position should not be intimidated by the number of crowns the queen has.
Because even if your wife is earning, put the money here, agree on how to use it, and at the end of the day, there'll be peace in the family.
Say what?
Say what?
Say What, where real talk matters.
What are sports all about? Winning? Fighting? Scoring? We say they're about never giving up. The most exciting sports stories about people, their passions, and their drive. Sports Life.
Older ladies, we gotta keep it together. If not, you're gonna die old.
It has been quite hard to find someone.
Love, by the way, si kitu ati inakuagana age.
I'm 47 years.
I'm 47.
I'm turning 41.
The ideal partner for my mom is a loyal one.
Sio mnono, sio mkonda.
Asikuwe na kipara ati azina cobalt.
Personally mimi niko na tabia mzuri, naweza hotspot zangu kaa yeye hana.
My first impression when I saw Brian. We know the Bryans.
I forgot your name, remind me again.
Me, I work out to look good while naked.
How you want some kids with me and you got a set of twins out there that you're not fighting for?
8月6日の朝、真っ青いね、雲一つない青空の下で、ね、ずっと地響きがして、みんなが。
All right, welcome back. You're watching Morning Cafe on TV 47 with me, Fred Ndimuli. Being a Friday, it is definitely the youth perspective, and we have 4 young men in studio who will be helping us look at the headlines this morning, beginning on my immediate right. James Mulamba, who describes himself as a revolutionary. Karibu sana. Next to him, we have Nick Mwangi, SG Kenya Ahadi Party. We also have Kelvin Mwangi, who's the SG Tujibebe wa Kenya Party Youth League. And last but definitely not least, Vida Mengi, youth leader. Quite a number of discussions today with regard to the IEBC Voter Registration exercise that is yet to start on September 29th this year, as well as we can start talking about Ruto reducing university fees to 25-year low, plus the crime rate in Nairobi. These are just some of the things we'll be looking at with this panelist in a short while. But for now, let's join my colleagues at Radio 47, Mwashumbe na Mwakideu, as they get into the dailies on Dondoo Magazetini.
Another Maskani Provo. Nasemaje? Goli likiwa kubwa lenga pembeni.
Auongo.
Nakwambia mimi.
Goli kubwa ukilenga pembeni uende katoka nje, ukawa mwingi katoka nje.
Sasa
likiwa kubwa lenga katikati, ndio yani either way ndani.
Katikati goli atashika.
Ulikuwa dhani hakuna goalkeeper.
Uliona goli liso goalkeeper wewe?
Mengi tu.
Labda goli ambalo lisimama Onana tu.
Maskani 47 na Billy Mia na Mbaruk Mwalimu, saa 9 hadi saa 1 jioni.
Hapa ndipo
Dondoo Magazetini.
Sisi tunazama straight away katika Dondoo Magazetini this morning kuangalia yale ambayo yanapewa kipaumbele. Kwenye gazeti la Daily Nation unasemaje this morning, my brother?
Katika gazeti la Daily Nation this beautiful morning wanasema who failed them? It is a question they're asking, by the way. Who failed them? But kunasema for the parents,
yes,
time has stood still. Every memory of Hillside Endarasha Academy burned into the horror and screams that filled the air. The fateful night of September 5th, 2024. A year later, authorities have no answers for who the school fire that killed their 21 children happened and why no one has been held account. Maana unajua tena Ndarasha pale vile moto ulipotokea paka leo.
Naam.
Watu hawajajua moto ulisababishwa na nini. Na kuna mtu kwa hivi sasa amekuwa held account to explain what happened na kadhalika. Ndio story ambayo iko katika page number 4 and page number 5 katika gazeti hili la The Standard. Story ambayo pia vile pia walikuwa nayo jana gazeti hili la Daily Nation pale vile. Wanasema kwamba shock of 1000 public schools with less than 10 learners each, pia ni story ambayo bado inaendelea. Alafu interesting story katika page number 10 ni kwamba gangs backed by powerful figures invade 400 acres in Kakuzi pia. Unaona pia sasa magangs pia sasa ni magangs. We're talking about gangs,
yes,
katika city gangs, katika kuinvade mashamba ya watu, gangs. What is not happening?
I don't know, Fred in the morning yuko ndani ya studio right now.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Ama huwa mnasalabianaje?
Hivyo tu good morning.
Baso.
Niaje.
Niaje. Mule lalaje. Bas.
About the TV47 my brother.
TV47 tuko sawa, vijana wameshaingia studio, tutakuwa na mazungumzo nao baadaye.
Okay.
Magangs wamezidi.
Wanaitwa magoons na magang wamezidi. Na wanasema ni vijana wadogo. Wanasema kwanza hao, unajua ukienda town Jumapili.
Yes.
Masaa ya saa 8 kule jioni, unapata watu wanapiga picha,
dance pale,
vitu kama hivyo. Sasa wengine wao wamegeuka kuwa ndio hao magangs. Na wako kule uptown, unajua unaweza fikiria ati ni kule maeneo ya chini downtown, hapana. Maeneo ya Kimathi Street. Archives. Ile hata City Hallway. Kenyatta Avenue. Ukipita hapo usipojiangalia vizuri unapigwa ngeta. Wanakutolea visu. Na hadi sasa askari hawajafanya chochote.
Wanajua.
Kila mtu anazungumzia hili jambo. Social media kila mtu iko kwa magazeti kila siku wiki hii.
Naam.
Unataka kuniambia watakosaje kujua kwani wanaishi wapi?
Maybe mtu atajiuliza kuna mtu anawabaka au magunza ama ni vipi?
Unajua kuna ile
wakati wa maandamano tulisikia magunza waliingia town, au magunza waliingia town na ruhusa ya watu fulani, hata polisi walikuwa wakiangalia, hawafanyi lolote. Ama polisi wameona sawa, sio mnaruhusu waingie basi.
Unajua wakati ule kulikuwa na mambo ya kisiasa.
Naam.
Sasa hapa hakuna siasa yoyote. Ndio security. Na hata maaskari ambao wanakosa kufanya kazi yao, kwani hawana familia wenye wanatumia hii town?
Kwani wakati wa kisiasa na sasa kuna tofauti gani? Kama utaruhusu waingie wakati wa siasa, pia sasa pia wataingia tu.
Unajua siasa kuna wale paid goons by politicians. Na politicians pia walikuwa na influence kwa police service. Hiyo tunakubali. Lakini sasa nani ana influence askari akose kufanya kazi yake?
No, magunzo wameona tulipatiwa ruhusa basi, wacha tuendelee.
Lakini pia ina explain kuna shida, vijana hawana ajira. Wanatafuta kazi, wanatafuta pesa ya kula kila siku, wameona hakuna kitu inafanyika. Basi tuende tukajitafutie.
Lakini ukisema hivyo kwamba ina explain hivyo ni masuala ya ajira, mbona pia tunasikia kule Mandera Jubaland forces wanaingia Mandera, nimemsikia former deputy president akiongelea, governor akiongelea hiyo, na watu wa Mandera wameanza kuongelea hiyo story.
Kila mtu anasema
security issue going on in the country. What's happening?
Kila mtu anakusema hivyo isipokuwa serikali. Serikali inasema hakuna. CS wa Interior alisema hiyo BAMBA hakuna. Hakuna mtu hawazungumzii hilo jambo. Wanajeshi hawazungumzii, askari polisi hawazungumzii hilo jambo. Kila mtu amenyamaza. A lot is happening in terms of insecurity, lakini wale ambao wanafaa kushughulikia mambo hayo kila mtu amenyamaza.
Kwa ufupi wakazi wa Mandera wanadanganya.
Kama hawa Nairobi. Governor ameongea. Amesema kuna
au inawezekana kwamba Jubaland forces kweli wamekaribishwa nchini.
Well, CS wa Interior alisema kama wako nchini hawakuja kwa ualiko wetu. Hatukualika.
No, so of course basi kama wakualikwa maana wapo nchini kulingana na
governor amesema hivyo. Senator amesema hivyo, wakazi wa Mandera wamesema hivyo, lakini serikali inasema sisi hatujui hayo.
Lakini kulikuwa na story kwamba walikuwa wamesema thank you for the warm welcome. What is that? The Standard pia wanaongelea story nyingine hapa, Fred in the morning, sijui kama umecheki pale. Raila loses oversight role to new leaders. You know, there are new leaders coming up right now. Ukiangalia pale katika ma stories of vibrant youth, kuna youth tu wamejitokeza pale kama opposition, kuna political players tofauti, kuna civil society pia pale imeamka. You know, Raila amekuwa katika hiyo role kwa miaka mingi sana. Kama yeye ndo oversight, yeye ndo official opposition, but right now he looks like he's losing it.
Yes.
To other players.
And I think it's high time. Hii ni wakati mwafaka wa jambo hili kufanyika. Tumezoea sana kuachia Raila kila kitu. Mambo yakienda hivi, Raila, baba tusaidie, baba waliwawe. Wakenya wenyewe walikuwa wanafanya kazi gani? Hawa wanasiasa wote wengine ni vijana, hapo wanafanya kitu. Sasa watu kama Kenya moja, wale kina Edwin Sifuna, kina Babu Owino, wa Muchomba na wengine wameamka. Because hata ukiangalia Raila bana ni amedhoofika kiafya, miaka imeenda, najua within no time atakuwa anaondoka kwa field.
Tuseme ni miaka imeenda lakini kiafya hajadhoofika, iko sawa.
Okay, miaka imeenda. Wacha unajua hata kisiasa naweza kuwa najimaliza. Miaka imeenda.
Miaka tu.
Miaka imeenda.
Naam. Ni story nyingine pia nimeona pale, deceitful spending. Deceitful spending. Masuala ya serikali kutumia hela bila kupitia kwa parliament kupata approval.
Unajua anasema kuna provision kwa constitution. Unaweza tumia hiyo hela kwa masuala kama ya climate, unajua ile disaster.
Yes.
Mambo ambayo yamefanyika na unahitaji pesa kwa dharura. Hakuna wakati wa kwenda bunge.
Yes.
Lakini sasa wanatumia hiyo provision, wanatumia tu pesa. Wanatumia pesa kiholela.
Example kama gani wametumia kiholela bila kwenda katika bunge?
Sijaangalia, lakini fedha nyingi sana zimetumika kiholela.
Kiholela.
Maana kuja kuwa na disaster hivi karibuni.
Hakuna disaster, lakini umeona calamity tangu 2022.
Na kumekuwa na mafuriko hivi juzi. Mvua imekuwa ikinyesha.
Security issues pia. Sio lazima uelezee, sio?
Sio lazima uelezee. In fact, if you're responding to a major security issue, sio lazima uende bunge ku-explain. Unaenda.
It is an emergency.
Lakini gazeti inasema wametumia kiholela. Lakini ni vizuri wacha wa raise mambo kama haya kuja to the fore, alafu ndio Kenya wa scrutinize wajue kama
ndio tujue mengi. Katika Star pale vile wanasema kwamba Ruto reduces varsity fees to 25 years law. Maana kunasema pale vile parents rejoice as government cuts university fees by up to 70% pale vile. Is this good news?
Definitely good news. Unajua tumezoea kuaccusea ati kila saa negative news.
This is good news.
Na leo tunazungumza na vijana.
Yes.
Kama unajua akisema 70%.
Ndio.
Anasema the last time nilikuwa hapo 25 years ago. 25 years ago is 2000.
Yes,
2000 Moi bado alikuwa rais.
Exactly.
That's a game changer. That's a game changer. So kama ni ukweli mambo yako hivyo, who are we to complain?
Mimi nataka ukirudi pale kuzungumza na vijana, kuna swala nyingine pale kwenye Taifa Leo. IEBC yapuliza kipenga. Tarehe 29 Septemba 2025.
Hapo ndipo.
Watachukua kura
IEBC,
ama ilikuwa ni fujo mtandaoni tu na mtaani?
Wanatarajia kusajili watu takriban wapiga kura milioni 5.7. New. Hao wakisajili hao, that's a game changer. New voters, 5.7 million voters. Remember last time tulikuwa 22 million registered voters. Lakini wale walipiga kura walikuwa 14 million pekee.
14 million pekee yake.
Inamaanisha kuna watu milioni 8 hawakushughulika. Sasa wakiongeza wengine milioni 5 au milioni 6, inamaanisha kutakuwa na milioni kama 14 nyingine. Wapi hawajawahi piga kura.
Okay.
Yes. So that's definitely a game changer, na tutakuwa nazungumzia vijana kwa mambo hayo. Lakini kabla niende kule T47.
Yes.
Masuala ya crime in Nairobi. The state of security in Nairobi has been put to question after a section of Kenyans took to their social media platforms to complain about the hike in pickpockets and gangs robbing people in broad daylight. The Nairobi Police Department, however, says the rate of crime in the city has gone down. Polisi wanasema hivyo. Tuangazie report by Muthoni Brenda. Nikirudi TV47.
Wanasema imeenda down. Ndio bana wametulia. Because unajua coding, unajua maybe wametulia because they are going as per their report. Kwamba crime imeenda chini.
Who are we to question them? Hao ndio askari. Asante sana, tukutane baadaye.
Okay. Later on.
Nairobi has become a gang's paradise according to these videos doing rounds on social media.
The thieves are back. Kazi ya wizi inaendelea, imerudi. Be careful when in town. Ukiwatawe kuwa careful. These people are stealing from people, and they will hurt you and they will steal from you.
Thieves and criminals wielding knives and syringes that they say contain poisonous liquids have allegedly taken over the city. Some even using fecal matter to intimidate Kenyans.
It has been happening for quite some time that apparently adi sijui security guard wapo Pizza Inn, hapo Chicken Inn Galitos alidungwa kisu akitry ku protect customer kingoja Uber.
The streets of Moi Avenue, Kimathi, near Supermetro Stage, all the way to this junction near National Archives have been pointed out as notorious areas for these crimes. However, crime statistics from regional police headquarters in Nairobi tell a different narrative. In July, over 600 crimes were reported compared to August's 400 crimes. The government has cited the mugging in the city as a small issue that will be dealt with.
That is a daily responsibility of the OCS in the police station. That's what I was telling the OCSs today. Shouldn't wait for, unless a very unique challenge that has come out of, a particular issue. But things like theft, muggings, that is a daily responsibility of the police officers within the area.
People who were mugged complained that they lost consciousness after greeting the said thieves. According to the Chief Officer Environment Nairobi County, Joyfrey Mosiria, county government is yet to conduct investigations on the drug used and how it's acquired.
Personally, I haven't done investigation, but I've interacted with a young person, and that one was in a Wings Codec. at around 3 a.m. who had been drugged, and he was dumped there by a taxi driver, Uber driver. I posted it even on my social media, and it could be there are those who are using such drugs on people.
He also stated that he cannot confirm if all the CCTV cameras in the city are working or not.
Let me not confirm that because personally, I don't interact with CCTV footages or CCTV cameras. So that one, the police will be in good position to respond to that.
Kenyans have now been advised to report to the nearest police station if they have been mugged in town. Muthoni Brenda for TV 47, Nairobi.
Indeed, a big talking point this week, especially on social media, young people being accused of perpetrating criminal activity within the CBD. Multiple reports have emerged of a sharp rise in violent crimes linked to these youth groups. Which youth groups? This story on page 16 of the Star starts like this. If you have been in Nairobi CBD during the evening lately, you may have noticed groups of young men, filming videos, posing for photos, or simply loitering along busy walkways, but they may not be as innocent as they seem. And I'm sure if you've used the city, especially on a Sunday afternoon, you must have seen people taking photos. So they say that victims report being accosted by individuals wielding syringes, kitchen knives, and even using human waste for intimidation. While police maintain that the perception of a crime spike is not accurate, and that in fact the crime rate is tending downwards, this year's economic survey report by the National Bureau of Statistics paints a different picture. Once again, allow me to introduce my panelists this morning. James Mulamba, a revolutionary, Nick Mwangi, SG Kenya Ahadi Party, Kelvin Mwangi, SG Tujibebe, wa Kenya Party Youth League, and Vida Mengi, a youth leader. That's our starting point. James, this is definitely a worrying trend. So people have been complaining on social media. And I've seen this story on the papers on a daily basis. But now the police are saying it's not a big deal. Just like they're saying of what is happening in Mandera, there's nothing to worry about here. Do you believe that that kind of response is what we should be getting from the CS of Interior?
I am not surprised because the police has never taken anything serious. And this is not...
Oh, they took the protest by the Gen Zs quite seriously.
Well, they take things seriously when it favors them, because it favored them to deal with the young people to preserve the presidency of William Ruto. After all, the young people were very interested in going to State House. And we are still very interested in going to State House anyway. But this same police service told us that they don't know who is abducting who. And they were unable to bring to books those that were abducting us. This confirmed to us that they were the ones abducting us. Now they might as well tell us that they don't know who's mugging who in Nairobi. Mm-hmm. We might as well deduce that they are the ones mugging people in Nairobi. Because when they were unable to produce the abductors, we put 2 and 2 together, and we realized that the police service had formed a rogue squad that was abducting us. So will it be far-fetched if we say that the police service in Kenya is stealing from innocent Kenyans? After all, we know how low their salaries are anyway. And if they are not the ones mugging people in Nairobi, they sure know who's mugging people in Nairobi. And for their dismissiveness, you can as well tell that they already know who's mugging us. Because if they wouldn't know who's robbing Kenyans, they would have taken this at heart, and they would have pushed for expeditious investigations into this matter. But because this matter is not as important, or because they know who's stealing from us or who's robbing us at gunpoint, probably using their own guns, that's why they're not so interested.
Mm-hmm. It's very easy to blame the young people, but we've noticed a trend, Nick, over the past few years, that there gets to a point we see a spike in criminal activity, and it's across the country, not just in Nairobi. Mm-hmm. And then it gets to a point it goes down. Is it politically motivated? Because at this point now we're getting, not just in Nairobi, we're seeing a return of teenage gangs in the coastal regions, in other towns like Nyeri, Nakuru, and Eldoret. What could be the cause of this?
Very good morning, Fred, and I think it's very good to be back at this show.
And congratulations, by the way. I hear you crossed over and you now became a man of the society.
We just made it official on paper.
Congratulations on your wedding.
Thank you so much, Fred. And I looked at the clip yesterday while I was watching the news. And this group of gangs seem to be very much coordinated. And I remember the allegations from the Interior CS, Kipchumba Murkomen, when the gangs when they were looting during Maandamano, and they accused we people from Mount Kenya organizing such kinds of crime. Now, my first question this morning to him, Fred, is it the same allegations that he's trying to pull to the people of Mount Kenya? Secondly, how come now he's all of a sudden very quiet about all these ongoing issues? And then 3, the most alarming issue, because among the accused situations or allegations to impeach Governor Sakaja was the element of sponsoring goons. And right now, it is as if he's trying to indicate that, look, guys, you said I was doing this, but the goons are still in town. I have completely no control over them. So I completely believe this is political, and it's a clear message to the citizens of Nairobi that you are not safe, and you're still not safe. And it is very worrying, Fred, because Nairobi, just the CBD, has from Pangani police station, we have Central police station, we have Kamkunji petrol station, and just within the archives, Kencom areas, we normally have traffic police. Yet you see an organized group walking down. There's no element of alarm. There's no element of communication by the police. It clearly communicates to you, Fred, that this is organized. This is something that was very much well calculated to allow them into the city.
Okay. Kelvin, what do you make of this police in action? Nick feels that it could be politically motivated. The police are there, and you didn't even mention Parliament Police. There are so many police stations within the CBD, and yet these gangs operate unhindered. Why do you think there's police in action in this? We saw the kind of reaction they had to the protests, and they were ever present. How come in these small gangs they are unable to react?
Thank you so much, Fred, for having me. First off, receive greetings from the Tujubiwa Kenya Party Youth League colleagues. I'd like to face this from a different footing a little bit, because you mentioned something about young people who are always in town shooting content on Sundays and mostly over the weekends and sometimes in the evenings. And to me, when we talk about the police in action, let us not try to criminalize young people in the name of trying to say there are issues in town. Well, there might be challenges here and there in terms of the security around the city, and we need to call out, or rather we need to engage the police in the right channels, because social media has become a very powerful tool. If today I come out with an allegation and I have a very good following, people will tend to walk along that line of information. So we need to find, or rather we need to have a given list of these cases so that we can have statistics. Because if everyone takes to social media and says that Nairobi is becoming very unsafe, and with the power that social media carries, then you are going to create an influence in people that Nairobi is very unsafe. What are you going to do in the long run? We are going to make it very difficult for the young content creators in town to access those parts. So we have seen policemen. I was once in town when these young people are shooting content on Sunday. And let me tell you, Fred, these young people are supposed to leave that area by 6 p.m. What happens? The policemen will walk around town and tell them, your time is up. So in efforts to try and make the police service look like they're not doing anything, I feel like we need to look at the steps they've put in terms of addressing this issue. In as much as we want to say the issues are becoming paramount, there's something at least they're doing in terms of coordinating these young people, because at the end of the day, for us to say they are criminals in town, they'll come for us as the young people. So let us not as young people be put in a corner where we will fight ourselves, where we will make other young people lack opportunities in the name of crime in the city. And this is also a clarion call to every young person and those young content creators who are always in town. If there are gangs in those towns, call them out, report them necessarily, because even we need to have trust with the public and the police service. Because it is very unfortunate that we get to a point of being very negative about a police service that we have in place, yet we have nothing else. We do not have any substitution. Security matters are very critical and very sensitive. We cannot afford to play with such matters.
Okay, and if we may just look at it from a different angle, Vida, do you think that all this is orchestrated, maybe for a political end or something? Because police in action, goons that operate from nowhere, and they appear coordinated, and they work in groups, and they do not fear anyone. Do you think that probably to an extent there could be some political dividend to be gained by someone somewhere from this spike or perceived spike in criminal activity in the CBD?
Fred, the honest opinion of my heart, if investigation is done correctly, you'll find there is someone somewhere trying maybe to cause chaos, perhaps to show the government is not working, or the government itself to show citizens that you need us. I don't know, but if investigation is done, there's something that can come up. Fred, I can say this, and this is very true. If a father cannot take control of his children, the stewards end up stealing the small petty things in the home, the stewards. Yeah? I personally believe that CS Kipchumba Murkomen is unfit to lead any issue to deal with national security. I think he's too proud. I think he's not conscious enough. I think his decision making is just poor. And I think he can put the way he makes some speeches. There's a time he was saying, you know, these institutions of ours, you have a democratic right to occupy. You know, constitutionally it's called protest and demonstration. But we have a right to occupy. Now, I remember when CS Kipchumba Murkomen said, if anyone tries to occupy a police station, let them get shot in the leg, or he gave a shoot order to a Kenyan citizen. You understand? A Kenyan citizen who can only occupy that station if he is annoyed that his grievances are not felt. You know, and that's a whole CS. So personally, I believe in solving any chaos we may have regarding security in this country, we have to look at the leadership, because whatever the leadership is in charge is what reflects down to the people. If the father cannot take control of his children, if the president, His Excellency William Samoei Ruto, cannot take control of his children, yeah, these police officers, these stewards, they are going to do very, very messy things.
Let's look at it on the other side, that if at all the youth are available for this kind of jobs, whether coordinated or not, there's also a problem in that. And this is, according to KNBS report, this has been rising since 2020, so it's not really a problem of this administration. The youth bulge that culminated even in the activities of June 25th last year, that the youth are angry and they are unemployed and they are annoyed at everything. Do you think that these are part of the consequences of failure to attend to that youth bulge?
When you have 70% of the youth as unemployed and poor and desperate, you can as well use them for any motive you want. That's how the youth were an easy prey to the politicians in terms of sponsoring them as goons. For as low as 500 shillings, youths were used to meet violence and brutality on their own youths. They were actually counter-protesting with us. I was part of the protests since 2024 to this very day, and I will tell you that it is really tough to get an official opposition from your own youths, that you're protesting for a cause, but they are within your ranks, but they are counter-protesting in the same cause. When you say one term, they say two term. You are in the same protest. And when you say, let's march towards, for example, the Central Police Station, they say, let's march towards Parliament. when you say, let's go home, it's already late, they say, no, we don't need to go home. We need to be around town. We don't care what happens in the night, whether we steal from people or whether the police shoot us down. It's really terrible because you have a faction of some people who are so desperate and who have nothing better to do because they have too much time on their hands. And that drives a situation where that drives a good ground for the politicians in that they have a ready chunk of people they can manipulate to their own interests. And this has gone on since 2024 to 2025 to this very day. I will not be surprised if Kenya gets itself on the brink of chaos like what happened in Haiti, because some people don't know that the chaos in Haiti were politically sponsored, in that goons marauded the streets of Port. I don't remember the full name of the capital of Haiti. But because there were some political parties and political leaders who were sponsoring them to wreak havoc to certain political member states, certain political candidates, and that has not stopped to this very day. If we go that way, that means that if I hate Sakaja and the UDA government, I am very willing to sponsor youths who are unemployed and desperate to wreak havoc on UDA, its counties and its leaders. And I have, if I belong to the ODM party and I have the wherewithal to sponsor goons, then I will do the same to the other parties. And then this breeds more chaos and more chaos and more chaos, because the youth are unemployed, most are poor, and some of them are even desperate.
It's less than 2 years to the elections. If at all the youth population continues being available for such units, there'll definitely be no shortage of people who are willing to use them or misuse them. Do you see a risk that as we head towards 2027, this problem might spiral out of control?
Fred, first of all, before I get to your question, let me respond here to my good brother. He had said that we must not challenge the police too much because they are the only people that we got. But I want to inform him that my good brother and SG, that the police have a higher calling, because when they go to Kiganjo, they are trained on how to detect criminal gangs, on how to even walk with a gun to the street. And number two, the worst case scenario is when we lose public faith with the people that are supposed to protect us. We are seeing a scenario whereby not just the young people, a majority of Kenyans are losing faith in this institution. Because, and I know we're going to get to the issue of Jubaland later on, but there are so many incidents that the police has to walk the talk. Because today, Fred, when we start from the element of abductions, allegedly they have been led by police. When you talk about the issues of operation by criminal gangs, allegedly they have been led by and authorized by the police. When you talk about the issue of utumishi kwa wote, they have not lived to that standard, Fred. And it is not our responsibility as Kenyans to have a feeling that we need to, and as much as we need to protect even our institution as, for example, the police, it is also up to them to hold themselves to higher standards, Fred. Because it is very, very sad today, when we were walking down 25th June, 2024, 2025, there was still no police to protect not just the young people, but the entire country. It is still the same allegations that are continuing, that young people are rowdy, young people are not organized, young people have no things to do. But I want to challenge that kind of thinking, Fred, because it cannot be that in as much as they want to manipulate the young people, that we don't have anything to do in this country. I assure you, it's still the young people that are crying out and calling out those criminal gangs, because they can see that this is organized. They're too intelligent to see it, Fred. And narrowing down to the element of 2027, young people are almost certain that they will protect their votes. They will protect their towns. The only thing that is holding young people, again, Fred, I repeat, is because young people want to take matters to their hands. Because given the permission, Fred, they will protect Central Business District, CBD.
All right. Let's take a short break. We'll continue this discussion even as we move towards that issue of voter registration that kicks off on the end of this month. You're watching Morning Cafe, today being a Friday. It is a youth perspective. We'll be right back.
To a thriving success story. This is where passion meets productivity. Ndio mkoko unaalika maua sasa.
TV47 in partnership with Penup and Backbone Feeds brings you Kilimo Diaries, where we visit farmers inspiring a new wave of agricultural excellence.
Yes, from agribusiness to agri-finance, and of course agro-technology to agro-science, everything agro. And of course we're going to share their success stories, the lessons learned along the way. And you know what? Pesa mfukoni kwa mkulima.
I am Sheila Chelangan.
And I'm MC Jaffe.
And this is Kilimo Diaries, a show for the farmers,
by the farmers, with the farmers.
Only on
TV47. Tony Yamani.
The machinations, the red tape, the hardball, the shame, the glory, the secrets, the covert, the overt, the good, the bad, the ugly, the wins, the losses, the squabbles, the treaties, the twists, the turns, the tenders, the contracts, the game, the drama, the spats, the dossiers, the scandals, the naked truth, even their clandestine meetings. Everything you ever wanted to know, now you'll know with a new, boldly reimagined and revamped Star. Grab a copy of the Star, because smart people read the Star.
Now introducing Smarter Weekly 300 and 500 bob. Browse, chat, call, and rudishiwa 100% transaction fee na Airtel Money. Ukitransact any pay bill across the country. Ukitransfer chapa from your bank to Airtel Money. Uki-withdraw chapa from an Airtel Money agent. Dial *544# or use My Airtel app. Ever-growing network, na bado tuna grow. Asanteni wa Kenya.
Welcome back. You're watching Morning Cafe on TV47 with me, Fred Indemuli. It is a Friday, so it is a youth perspective. And I have a group of 4 young men here in studio with me. James Mulamba, Nick Mwangi, Kelvin Mwangi, and Vida Mengi. Kelvin, even as we continue discussing issues to do with youth unemployment, the youth bulge, how are you misusing or using the numbers, the IEBC has now come out to declare that the voter registration will start at the end of this month, actually, September 29th. That's a big deal for youth. The IEBC is looking to register some 5.7 million people who have never voted in their lives, meaning that they're basically young people. I'm not saying young people did not vote last time. They may have been registered, some of them. A few of them did vote. A huge chunk also did not vote. There has been this discussion that the youth in Kenya have now been reawakened politically from the events we've seen the last 1.5 years or so. Are you optimistic that this voter registration will be the game changer?
Thank you so much, Fred. Really, what a time to be a young person. Everything that happens in this country has to have the young people as the conversation. So when the IEBC comes out and says it is targeting to register 5.7 million young Kenyans to vote, that brings a lot of confidence in me. that change we so want to see, that change he's talking about guarding the central business district, which is sort of unconstitutional, can only be done through our votes. These young people can only show up for these leadership positions. And I always say, let us not stop at, I registered as a voter. Register as a voter, contest for these political positions, face off with these different people, because when we look at the demography of the young people, we really have a lot of information at our dispensation right now. And this information we have can only serve government when we're in some of these positions. And when I look at the numbers that are projected by the IEBC of the young people who are to vote, primarily in this country, we've had elections being decided based on tribal lines and regional lines. But for once in this country, we will have an election in 2027 that will be decided by the young people, regardless of the tribes, regardless of the...
Yet young people have historically been known not to be very excited about voting day, the election day.
In fact, from the statement IEBC has given, they've said in 2022, young people did not vote. But what we've seen over the years since from 2022 to this day, 2025, the young people have developed great interest in political matters. And this is now the hope, this is the light at the end of the tunnel we need to see. Mm-hmm. Because I believe with civic education, with constant civic engagements, the young people are now seeing the importance of voting. Whether the leaders in place are doing the right thing or not, it can only be decided at the ballot box. So the young people should know that this is an encouragement for them to show up and give their voices in the right way.
All right.
We can always talk on social media, we can always talk in the streets and everywhere else, but the most pertinent place to hear our voice as young people in this country and fuel the change we need to see is by registering as voters and coming out, turning out to vote and voting in the leaders we want. Secondly and finally, you look at the election cycle in this country, 22-point-something million, 22.1 million are the registered voters in this country. In 2022, only 14 million voted. There was a whole 8 million that never voted. If we register these young people, then that means we will have the majority voice. We are 70% in terms of population in this country. That means we really hold the future of this nation in our hands. Okay. And it is time we do the right thing by stepping out to be registered as voters, stepping out to contest for these positions, and stepping out to effect the much-needed change.
Yet there are those who argue that there's this, what is called the dopamine effect, that if you get to experience that dopamine effect, you may not be able to actualize the things you wanted. And I've seen so many young people talking about their dissatisfaction with the political class, what the political class is not doing. They've had those discussions on social media to a point where they seem to have gone back to the same lethargy that they had. That, yet it's close to 2 years before the next election. What do you think will change to reawaken the kind of excitement that we saw last year with the young Kenyans, even if they register to vote?
I'd suppose motivating the Gen Zs is by including them. Inclusivity. When you tackle inclusivity, you've solved out the entire mess that Gen Zs can put in this country. I want to say for a fact, my brother said in 2022, youths did not show up to vote. The reason why they did not show up is marginalization. Youths feel marginalized. When we look at the list of aspirants, we see the youths who want to aspire, they get votes. They get marginalized. They don't get given party tickets. Party tickets go to people with money. We get bullied in those political parties by people who think they own them. There is a lot of inequality. And I would like to read some of the consequences of this country and the parties if they marginalize the Gen Zs. And the first one is delays in voter registration and election preparations. Mm-hmm. If they want voter registration and election preparations to be at par, let Gen Zs be noticed, let them be seen, and let them be included. Without that, I can guarantee you there will be endless loss of youth support, there will be endless protest and unrest, there will be undermining democratic processes, there will be electoral disputes, because right now we have youths who have who have explored business opportunities and they can really finance their campaigns. So if these youths now feel how we've lost our friends in protest and now you want to fight us and bully us, expect electoral disputes. I only urge party leaders across the country not to take the youths for granted. There are very big consequences for that.
Do you feel that party leaders right now, and most of the parties that will take part in the election, probably the bigger parties, have already formed their opinion about Gen Zs? Do you think they're responding to this youth bulge in a different way, that they're trying to... Do you feel them including you in their big parties, the UDAs, the ODMs?
I am a member of Wiper Party, yeah? And I have friends who are aspirants and want to aspire using that party. And that party is strong in Ukambani. But I can tell you for sure, I've been meeting the leaders. I can tell you for sure, there is a lot of bullying in these parties. But let it not be blamed on the party leader. The party itself, there are cartels in every party in Kenya that feel like they own those parties. And I can assure you, we are in Wiper Party, we have friends in DCP, we have friends in ODM. But if we feel we are going to be bullied any least, trust you me, before 2026 ends, you will see something you've never seen in this country.
But someone will argue, James, that by nature politics is like that you will be bullied, and if you do not bully your way through, then you will fall by the wayside. Do the youth expect things to be handed to them on a silver platter?
One, before I respond to that, let me get back to the voter registration. It was an abuse of office by the deceased IEBC chairperson, Ofula Chebukati. Some would say, may he rest in peace. I have no love.
Allow him to rest in peace.
I have no love for him. Anyway, he did not have the powers to unilaterally cancel and ban the ongoing voter registration exercise. It is supposed to be an ongoing exercise from one election period to another. Citing the fact that the IEBC Commission did not have, say, the quorum in that most of the commissioners had either resigned or their terms had expired, is not reason enough to invalidate an entire voter registration exercise. Because what then happens to the IEBC staff across the country? You tell us that the IEBC staff are supposed to have tea and mandazi for 3 years because there isn't a quorum in the secretariat of the IEBC. That is bogus and it's nuts. To me, the IEBC voter registration exercise should be an ongoing exercise from 1 year to another. And as we get to the question, the bullying in political parties is nothing new. Moi was bullied in Kau, he was bullied in Kadu, and he was bullied in Kanu before he got his footing.
Because he became the bully?
Yes. William Ruto was bullied in Kanu, and Uhuru Kenyatta was favored as the successor of Kanu in his stead. William Ruto was bullied in ODM until he quit. Uhuru Kenyatta was bullied. Uhuru Kenyatta was not as much bullied. Raila Odinga was bullied in Ford. He caused the split in Ford. He was bullied in NAC by Kibaki, and he was forced to toe the line because part of the memorandum of understanding he had with Kibaki was not executed. And most of these political leaders have gone through this. And you could imagine that they are public figures and they have the social capital. What then happens to me, James Mulamba? What then happens to Victor? What then happens to Vida? And any other Gen Z who does not have the social capital and the resources? That tells us that the fate has already been decided and the die is cast. That if you're looking to infiltrate these parties and if you're looking into controlling these parties, either from within or without, you are fighting a losing battle because that party has an owner. And the party leader and the owner of that party has vested interests. For example, the DCP party belongs to Gachagua. It's the newest entrant into the political scene of the 91 registered political parties. What then happens if Gachagua decides, I do not want you as the member of National Assembly for this particular constituency? What then happens if Gachagua issues a direct nomination ticket for the gubernatorial seat in Nairobi? what recourse do the Gen Zs have in that particular party. That tells us that our best shot would be grooming our own political party or adopting our own political party, because as we speak now, we have around 10 political parties that have been registered by millennials, not Gen Zs, but by millennials. And most of them have kibandas for offices. They are as poor as they come, but they have the heart, they have the vision. I would implore the Gen Zs to take up some of these parties and groom them for themselves, because they are not going to run the big political parties.
Are we suggesting that even the huge number of voters that stand to be registered in this exercise that's starting later this month, that there may be at the very end lethargy from the same group if they don't get enough aspirants who they can identify with in terms of age or generation? That yes, as long as the old people running, because they own the parties, these younger people may not show up.
I think, Fred, we are totally looking this element of young people in politics just one perspective, because our assumption is we have a large population of young people who should directly join into elective politics. Be it as it may, politics and activism that has been done by the young people on social media has shaped the politics of this country. We have to give credit to young people, because that is where they contribute the most. They call out elements of the government and elements of the opposition that are not working well. They keep both people in check. And if you look at it very carefully, in a mature democracy, that is where young people participate the most. And the element of we young people, for example, I'm an SG of a political party, as my good friend is saying, we have to go into these seats. If you're interested in an elective position, I kid you not, Fred, this position will not be handed to you on a silver platter. You have to lobby, you have to work hard, you have to wake up, you have to represent the people that you want to talk about. But my main concern about 29th of September, where we have to come as young people across the country to register ourselves as voters, that is what will determine 2027 if we shall be in government. Because our participation in politics includes on electing the right leaders that we want. We cannot make an assumption that we want an area MP of this caliber, yet we don't have a vote. In as much as we will contribute in online activism, online politics, we have to register as voters. So, to me, it's a double-edged sword, because we cannot leave the responsibility just on one element and accuse the old leaders of not giving us a space. And even so, let me also challenge the old leaders, because recently, because my party is also in the united opposition, and our stand was also very clear. And young people across, because I've been listening to young people across the country, and they're having the same issues, that even in the united opposition, we saw Dr. Mukisa Kitui being appointed as the spokesperson. Most people are asking, where are the young people in that conversation? We don't see a young face. Mm-hmm. It is also a matter of time that they take us very seriously, or we will not take them. Why do you think they're not taking you seriously if you have the numbers? It's because the lack of money. Not lack of money. They're afraid of young people, mm-hmm. because they have seen what young people can do given an opportunity. Mm-hmm. They don't want. They think young people will cause a lot of radicalism on the table, but young people are very creative. Young people have energy. Rather than them having that fear, let them use that fear to push the conversation. Let them mentor us as we're on the table. Fred, that's what we're asking for. Mm-hmm. Yes. What do you think the problem is that young people are not finding their space in the already established political vehicles that we have?
Thank you, Fred. You used the word vehicles, and I was going to use that same word. This country had a single party at some point. And the bullying you've talked about happened in that single political party. Years down the line, we have 91 political parties in this country. And I want to give a very good example. I come from Tujibebwa Kenya Party. In my party, a case study of 2022, a case example of 2022, the pioneer party leader, His Excellency William Kabogo, was vying as governor in Kiambu County. That same party, after elections, he lost his seat. We had 6 MCAs elected on that political party. What does that then mean? We need to stop looking at several political parties and look at the larger view of what political parties are and what the intention of having political parties was. Because it is outright that for him, he lost his seat, but that did not stop the other MCAs, the MCAs who got their seats, from getting their seats. So this thing is about belonging to a vehicle that really envisions what you stand for. Because we also need to highlight the desperation in some of the leaders in this country when it comes to the political period. They just want to join any political party without even realizing the vision and the mission of that political party. There are people in this country who have formed political parties for transaction. There are people in this country who have formed political parties for self-gain. But there are political parties like mine, I can assure you, a very selfless political party. For us to have a voice as young people in that political party is simply because of subscribing to the values of the political party, asking questions and getting answers, and being included in the journey of the making of that political party. In the neck of Tujibebwa Kenya political party, we have young people who sit in the neck of that political party. In the youth league, we have a very active youth league. What does that mean? This political party is a case example of what we need to see in these political parties. When you look at the party Mulamba is mentioning here, that DCP party, that party was formed for transaction. And everyone wants to run there because they think the party is very popular. But in real sense, people are going to be heartbroken, people are going to be left out. My friend Nick here doesn't even know what is happening to the young people in his united opposition. And I can encourage you, my brother, just come to this side and have your voice heard. And I must also tell the young people that when you join these political parties, don't join political parties for cosmetics. Don't join political parties for handout. The vision of this country, what our forefathers envisioned when they were fighting for the independence of this country, was a country where everyone is heard, was a country where everyone's need is taken care of. Because we are oftentimes assumed as young people simply because we just want to fill the numbers, we just want to fill those NDCs. We are getting 2026. You will see so many NDCs coming up. Young people will fill those halls for handouts, for cosmetic, and they'll shout. But can we look beyond filling of those halls? Can we look beyond shouting and embracing anyone who comes in the name of this political party seems to be very popular? Can we not fight the different political parties, yet embrace the multi-party democracy that we enjoy as a people? So for me, my clarion call will be, young people need to belong. And where you need to belong is somewhere that aligns with your values as a young Kenyan.
Okay. Vida, I saw you clap when Nick was making his contribution. What was it that you were agreeing with?
I was agreeing on one thing, yeah? I was agreeing on something he said that I called them cartels. I was agreeing to the point that these cartels are afraid of what we are going to do.
Cartels within political parties?
Yes, and even in the country. Mm-hmm. The entire government, Kwanza, the one we have right now, has a lot of cartels. And those cartels are afraid of what we are going to do.
As young people?
As young people, if we get into the decision-making tables. Yeah? But I want to tell Kenyans, I want to give a message to the Kenyans, and I hope I look straight at the camera. Please, choose Gen Z leadership. It is very necessary for Kenya for several reasons. Number one, we have fresh perspectives, we have digital natives, we have diversity, we want inclusivity, we have energy and passion, I think you can see it, yeah? We want accountability and transparency. And since we want accountability and transparency, trust you me, any Gen Z leader who gets any slight chance to to lead and maybe be in charge of any public funds, the first thing we will want to do is to prove to Kenyans that we can be accountable and we can be transparent. Yeah. We also want a system whereby there are, in fact, let's say, for example, in Kitui East, you will find that people there don't have so much access to technology, some not so many. So we also want to see notice boards in every town there, whereby if agency aspirant who, kwanza, there is one I'm voting for in Kitui East called Nelson Muimi Molinga. Yeah? If, let's say, for example, if God blesses Nelson to be the MP, I've always told him that we need notice boards all over the constituency. Why? Every little project done by the county government, let them print that and post it in every notice board in the constituency. Let everyone know the contractor, let everyone know the money spent, let everyone know the duration. We want transparency, we want accountability. And that is why these cartels do not want to see us in this decision-making table.
Now, we've talked so much about the aspirants, and they'll form a very small fraction of the 5.7 or even the 8 million of people who have not voted, or even the 27, 28 million voters. What about this? Out of the new voters, let's say, out of the 5.7, probably 100,000 will be aspirants. Still, 5.6 million will just be voters. How do you fight the possible lethargy from this predominantly youthful voting bloc? Because we've seen them before, and you've agreed. They did not vote in 2022. They were very noisy and excited last year. Then they disappeared. We saw them appear this year in June, then they disappeared. What would happen, because there's a real risk that they may disappear again come 2027 August. How do you ensure that they actually come out and vote?
The young people did not disappear from 2024 to 2025. When you push the narrative, and this narrative has been pushed before, that the young people have reappeared, it tells us that the country only thinks that the young people are involved when they show up for protests. But as you can see here, we have two Secretary Generals here. They have been involved.
It's because they're politically active. They're politically in political parties.
That's why I'm saying that the youths did not at any moment from 2024 to 2025 desist from being politically active. They just were not showing up for protests. And we have this attitude amongst Kenyans that the Gen Zs are only active when they are in the streets. They don't see the work we are doing behind the scenes. They don't see the civic education. They don't see the mobilization. They don't see the conversations we are pushing on social media and on ground. And that to them is not political activeness. They would want to see all of us in a certain political party or in a certain political outfit, and that to them qualifies as our activeness. But then they should probably evolve and see us in a different light, because we have been involved in these things. Personally, I've been involved at Bunge la Gen Z. I've been involved at Bunge la Mwananchi. I have friends who've been doing civic education on the ground, and I have guys who are doing civic education on social media, and we are pushing the conversation. And we did not leave the stage, and we are not going to leave the stage. And I think one of our biggest motivating factors has to be William Ruto. Much as we would want to run away from the topic, it is what it is, because William Ruto is a necessary evil. He is the devil we needed. He is a blessing in disguise, in that without William Ruto, the young people today would not be politically active. I can promise you that. With Uhuru Kenyatta, the young people, some of them were still in school, including myself, but some, like our millennials, were not in school. They were off school. Some were starting their businesses. Some were in gainful employment, but they were not involved in politics. Why? Because probably William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta have two different political leadership styles, and that Uhuru Kenyatta knew how to bite and blow. Is that what they call kuuma na kupuliza? But this other guy knows how to bite and bite and bite and bite. And that's what has gotten us to this particular point, that we have a president who does not know when it's enough. He does not know when taxes are enough, when you've pushed people too much on the wall. He does not know how to conduct himself in a manner, so to speak, to appease the country when the country is pushed to the brink of collapse. When the country is struggling with unemployment, with poverty, and with the current global problems that we have, say like the conflicts of Ukraine and how he says that spiraled to the prices of petroleum and the other fuel prices. The president does not seem to know how to handle these situations. He does not seem to have a message curated for the public. And that is what has pushed these Gen Zs, including myself, to challenge his administration. Well, you couple that with the corruption in county governments and so on. And that gives you a good concoction why the youth are involved in politics today, and they are not going to leave this stage until they give themselves better leaders and better governance.
And you mentioned something very important, public engagement, civic education. And probably that is what is lacking. We saw the reawakened, proper, better understanding of the budget-making process last year. There are so many other things that have happened, but the level of discussion by the youth has been wanting. Okay, according to me, you may challenge that. Because the issues around probably the recall of MPs is something that the youth were so convinced would happen once the IEBC comes back. IEBC came back, then only for them to realize, no, it was not going to happen. There's a level of understanding of the latitude that we enjoy because of the constitution we have and what we can or cannot do, or the rights that we should be demanding for. Do you agree that, yes, we're still not at the optimum level of understanding?
I think we will get there, and we're still pushing for this. Personally, I was pushing for the recall of my area MP, and after having heated conversations with some of the political establishments on ground, they warned me of future reprisals from the voters if I went on with the recall process as I had planned. And probably this has gotten to other voters and other aspirants. I'm speaking as an aspirant, that probably the people might punish you for trying to take out their MP or trying to take out their senator or their governor and so on and so on. So you have a population here that thinks that the impeachment of senators, governors, women reps and MPs is the preserve of, say, MPs or the preserve of MCS, not you as an ordinary voter. And because recall has never been conducted in this country before, you would forgive me if it's lost to me that a recall process has been carried out before. No, so this is the first. So being the first, you wouldn't expect the country to warm up to it as easy as it would warm up to a general election. We have our teething problems with recall, and I'm sure we'll get to that. Okay. But we have a problem with civic education in that mobilizing resources for civic education is not an easy task, and we have say by now confined ourselves to social media because it's the least expensive means to engage the voters with civic education curated messages. But we will get the resources to do civic education. But I'm also challenging the government to at least find resources to do civic education because they have the chunk of our taxes.
But politicians may not be interested in having a more enlightened public.
That's why we are pushing for office, to give ourselves that budget to push for civic.
I'm talking about between now and 2027.
You know, Fred, how you speak, it's as if the young people have lost the war. When you read The Art of War by Sun Tzu, he talks about two main things. Number one, knowing your battleground. And number two, fight battles that you can win. Now the Gen Zs are very strategic. In 2024, 34 counties were on the streets. In 2025, the entire nation was on the street. Now I want you to picture and imagine what can happen in 2026 and 2027. The Gen Zs are a very strategic and intelligent population. These are people who have understood that this war, you cannot win it instantly. It is cumulatively. And you have to be very strategic because the people who are also in power have been there before. And some of them were in YK 92, as early as 1992. And they have studied the terrain, and they're almost trapping us into elements of, one, shoot and kill, two, abductions, three, throwing us. The other day you saw young people thrown in Karura Forest. And you see, these are elements that are on the public domain. Now the young people are becoming intelligent. They are planning strategies on how they are going to make sure they regain democracy in this country. And I kid you not, Fred, watch 29th of September. Young people are already planning. The conversation has already started online. And I'm telling you, Fred, 2027 is not going to be an ordinary day. August 8th, it's not going to be an ordinary day. Why am I saying this, Fred? Because we, the young people, went on the street. But it is the old folks who are eating the cake. We want to change that conversation.
Right, but how will you do it if the youth have these gaps in as far as the understanding of what they should be fighting for, even just the Bill of Rights and the provisions they have in the Constitution? I'm talking about now your university fees have been reduced, and many could see this as tokenism instead of a right that you should be enjoying. Do you feel that even the young people who are yet to register as voters have enjoyed a proper level of understanding of what we should be enjoying at this time?
Thank you so much. Before I get to that point, let me add something to what they've been talking about. The Bible in the book of Amos 3, verses 3 says that two people cannot work together unless they agree. This country will always have young people, it will always have older people. And you cannot build a country without energy. You can also not build a country without experience. Energy is harbored in the young people, greatly harbored in the young people. Experience is with the older people. So we need to have the collaboration of the energetic and the experienced to build this country. So let us not make it so much of the young people versus the older people. Because one day I sit here as a young person, one day I'll probably sit here again as an older person. I do not want to hear the young people of my time being an older person say that those old people have just been around for too long, so they need to leave. So let us create that atmosphere of the collaboration so that we can address most of these challenges we have as a country. Education, university education. I spoke to a friend recently and I was trying to understand the banding. And to some extent it is really painful to sit in a class and you know you are the poorest kid in this class because you're in band 1. It is also unfortunate to be placed in a certain band, yet you cannot afford that banding. We have no knowledge in this country, the art of giving bursaries, the art of contributing to take people to school, but the psychological nature of all these actions can to some extent affect how an individual student goes through the education, their time in school. For instance, you come to me, say I'm the poorest, you bring all these bursaries, announce, post my pictures everywhere. It is kind of unfortunate. So first off, we need to really do something about the way we give bursaries and the way we band these students in different bandings. Because if you are labeled poor, you might live with the mentality that you're always poor and you need to be helped. Secondly, the price of education has reasonably gone down. And the reason as to why they introduced the higher funding, the HEF, is to really address the issue of government borrowing. Because we understand when the help how the help was like before they brought in the new funding model, is that there was more of government borrowing, and the students will go without many unpaid dues. But in this new funding model, they try and bring the load more to the learner's side, and the government does not have to borrow so much. And you remember when the president took over, they were talking about cutting costs on borrowing and all that. But the approach they've taken has not been reasonably the very best, because it's creating that difference and that outright, weighing and trying to compare people. But we also need to sit and appreciate the small efforts they've made, the small strides we've made. These strides must not be very big strides for us to sit and say, this is the best we've done as a country. But I can agree that reducing the fee to the figure they've given us today is not tokenism, but it is a step towards the right direction. Right. So if we continue talking and if we continue engaging with the stakeholders, I think we'll have better approaches to the issue of education.
I think it's James, and now we've moved to this issue of university, but you're at liberty to talk about public engagement if you wish to. But James talked about the issue of kuuma na kupuliza. And this same administration has been accused of coming up with a higher education funding model, which was a bit punitive. Many felt was punitive. Then, less than 2 years to the elections, they reduced the university fees to a 25-year low by 70%. How do you make of this? It is definitely a positive headline and definitely will benefit a lot of university students.
Now, this is where you ask me a question to give opinions that can lead me to get abducted, but I'll say them nevertheless. Yeah? Let me tell you, we are tired of getting fooled. Yeah? Personally, I see things. I see when a stunt is being played. I see when we are getting played with the mind. Yeah? And about the university model, the things that are going on, it is purely a publicity stunt since the elections are near. And you can even notice, I can strengthen my point by telling you that the president himself is now forming a multi-agency team to fight corruption. Yeah. Yesterday, I was at the Integrity Center, ESCC. Why? There are so many unsolved cases. On who? On Nimrod Mbai, Kitui East NGCDF. Nimrod Mbai is a member of UDA party. There are cases that we filed that have not been solved for years. Yeah? And we were in a show here last time with Victor Moyakane, and there's an Embu MCA who said there is a case there that has stayed almost 10 years, a decade. Yeah. Number one, I would like to tell the president himself that if the institutions we are relying on cannot give us justice we want, and then in one way or another we see that he is involved in removing that independence in these institutions that include the police service, the ESCC, the DCI, all of them, name them. If we see any slight evidence that he is the reason why they are not independent and why things are not getting solved, let me tell you, the president himself is the one who will be promoting anarchy. And the UDA party and the government itself, it is what will be motivating the citizens to not follow law.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
We have exactly 8 minutes, so I want to give each one of you 2 minutes for your final comments. Voter registration coming up. 5.7 potential new voters could register. If you could tell them something, James, what would you tell them?
Well, I would tell them that the future of this country is not cast on stone. There was a time when people thought that Moi was indispensable, and he left us, both from the ballot and he went to hell, because I'm sure he did not go to heaven. I'm telling the youths in this country that you have a chance to change this country, and probably we might not get to State House before 2027, but there's another route to State House. We can vote out William Ruto and his cronies, including Aden Duale. Actually, Aden Duale is giving me sleepless nights, by the way. And we can really take the reins of this country into our own hands by also voting our own leaders. Because when we replace William Ruto, we have to replace him with someone. When you replace your senator, your governor, your MP, and your MCA, and any other elected leader, you have to replace him or her with someone else. So I am calling out the new voters to also vie for these seats, because we must change this country with the right leaders. And it has been said before that the youth may not be the panacea of the problems of Kenya, that they may not be the solution we want. And some of them will turn out badly. That is assured, because even Raila Odinga has turned out badly in the end. But we would better gamble with the young people than vote in the same crooks who have never delivered results for us. So I'm saying, yes, be daring to register as a voter, be also more daring to vie as a leader of the next country, the country that we want to birth.
Thank you so much, James. Nick, you go next.
Thank you so much, Fred. One thing I'm almost certain that change is coming, or change is already here. And all you observe that even the government of the day is doing a lot to make sure that they want to accommodate the young people. But we already know the fate of this government. It's a government that is already going home. And from the failing institutions such as SHA, from the issue of police brutality, from the issue of school funding model, from the issue of bad governance, and Kenyans are convinced, especially the young people. And we are almost there. That's what I'm telling the young people. We are almost there. And we are so much dedicated that beginning of 29th of September, we shall register as many young people as possible. Because these matters of these countries are ours. And we also want to call the older generation as well, because they have failed us as young people. They have completely failed us. And they owe us as a great apology, because young people have paid the price by blood. And they have sat down and accused us of so many atrocities. And they have villainized us in the process of us fighting for justice and equality. Because the issue of, especially on the issue of police brutality, that is what has pained Kenyans the most. The shooting of young people, the shooting of toddlers at their homes. That is why this government has to go, Fred. And then finally, as I conclude, I agree with my panelists, all of them, that young people should join political parties. If you have the urge to change your ward, your constituency, your county, or even the country, this is a time to think and have that discussion within yourself, that go on and make sure that you vie. Kenya Hadi Party is a party and is willing to take you in and make sure that you fulfill your dream.
Okay, thank you. Kelvin?
Thank you so much, Fred. It is time the young people decided to, quote unquote, to jibebe. We've, for a long time, sat under the wings of people who care less about us. We've, for a long time, sat under the wings of people who want to use the young people for transaction. We've, for a very long time, sat with people who do not believe in our ideas. And that has resulted us to being angry. It has resulted us to lose friends in the struggle. But it is time, as the young people, we decided, let us come and sit together and chart a better way forward. In Tujibebe Kenya Party, we have the space to decide and work and build and chart a better way forward as the young people in this country. Our slogan is Tujenge Taifa. We need to build this country, and it takes all generations to build a country, as I said here before. And the other thing is that we also need to agree we have a government in place. Yes, there's been a whole myriad of issues with this government, but we also need to decide that we have one government in place and we can talk about any other thing come 2027. Campaigns will begin in 2027. We will talk politics when it's time for politics. For now, let us talk service delivery. Let us talk of how they told us they'll give us internet in the market. Go to bilawaya.go.ke. You will access points of internet around you. Go to the stadiums. Look at the stadiums they've built. You'll see the infrastructure coming up. Go to the roads. Look at the types of roads they are doing. Look at the markets they are doing. So I'd say to every young person, all is not lost. Even as we get to the point of registering as voters from 29th of September, let us know we are doing that for the greater good of this country. Let us know we are doing that because we need to have and we need to leave a better country for the generations to come. The forefathers who fought for this land, had they all decided that they won't do anything against the colonial regime at that time, we will not enjoy the freedom we're enjoying today. So let us know finally that this country deserves and demands of us to give it the very best of the service and the patriotism. God bless you and God bless Kenya.
Thank you so much, Kelvin. Finally, Vida.
I'll be very straight. To every youth, to every Gen Z who is into the political space and yearns to have a seat on the decision-making table of the country, you must understand something. You must understand that the political decks in this country are stacked, they are full, and the rules are rigged. And for us to survive, we must stay non-violently dangerous. That's all.
All right.
Non-violently, but stay dangerous.
Stay dangerous,
yes.
Non-violently. What a way to end the youth perspective this Friday.
I feel dangerous.
Non-violent, isn't it? Thank you so much, Vida Mengi, a youth leader.
Yes.
James Mulamba, who would want to be referred to as a revolutionary. Yes. Nick Mwangi, SG Kenya Hadi Party, and Kelvin Mwangi, SG Tujibebe wa Kenya Party Youth League. Thank you so much for your time at TV47 and for your very well-considered opinions on the issues we've discussed, especially those pertaining to the young people of this country. A quick look at the headlines this morning on the Weekend Star. Ruto reduces varsity fees to 25-year low. A positive one there, especially for the youth. Deceitful spending. The Standard continues with its stinging headlines. Two-word headline there. The Daily Nation goes with something else. Who failed them? 1 year on since the fateful night of September 5th, 2024, when 21 children died at the Endarasha School in Nyeri. And Business Daily, accidents, car theft insurance payout hit record 44 billion shillings. Taifa Leo is the only one that has gone with the main headline of IEBC Piga Kipenga, calling for the voter registration later this month. Well, my name is Fred Ndemuli. After the break, we switch gears. It's called a Feel Good Friday right here. DJ Granite will be here. Good morning.
Now, introducing Smarter Weekly 300 and 500 Bob. Browse, chat, call, and rudishiwa 100% transaction fee na Airtel Money. Dial *544# or use My Airtel app. Ever-growing network, na bado tuna grow. Asanteni wa Kenya.
Running low before payday? Don't let an empty wallet shake your confidence. With ASAP Credit, get